Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a look here at Ravencoin, helping you understand best practice and big picture. And I've gotten a lot of requests for this one, asking more specifically if we should sell based on the simple fact that it's extremely overextended. All right. Well, oftentimes there's certain things you want to try to look at, such as overextension and perhaps support and resistance levels. We'll look at that and much more. Just know if you're new to the channel, I'm not a financial advisor. I love teaching people to trade. If you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is the website. Link in the description below. I offer a trading academy, community, and signal group. It's a really awesome experience to kind of become a better trader. Have a lot of graduates here recently, and they're doing very well for themselves. So extremely happy to see that happen. Thank you so much. Taking a look, of course, at BitGet. Very last thing just to note, this is my trading platform that I use now. It's really awesome, best place to go, and I recommend it just because you get such a large bonus when you register with them that it seems pretty straightforward, right? Like you should definitely transfer some of your funds over to go ahead and earn that much. I was able to do that myself, and it was a really awesome experience. So BitGet's the way to go. Fantastic platform as well. Take a look here at Raven though. What we want to know and understand with Ravencoin is the simple fact of the matter is it's extremely overextended today. But keep this in mind, it overextended itself previously and didn't really retrace all that much. Obviously on the third day it corrected itself some, but not a lot, not as much as it typically should have. All right. So what we want to do is maybe start with the big picture and kind of understand, kind of where it's come from. You got to recognize that Ravencoin's done some pretty parabolic, behavior in the past, and of course, now is no exception. So could it continue? Yes. Should it continue? We're going to find out. All right, again, we're going to look at specific indicators, kind of help us understand if it's going to turn around or if we should take some profits. I guess all the above, right? Obviously, if it turns around, you want to take profits, so there's that as well. We'll have to look at a few things. I'm going to stop talking and go right into the details here. As far as Ravencoin is concerned, first of all, we got to bounce off 70 in the RSI. This is a common characteristic for coins that are moving the way that it's moved so far, right? So in other words, it comes back down, the relative strength at 70, bounces back up. It's a natural phenomenon in trading, specifically more so cryptocurrency, because other coins, most coins have a tendency of doing that, whereas stocks and ETFs don't really overextend themselves as much as this one has. Okay, so in that case, it's normally a negative, right? But since we got that clean bounce off of 70 on the RSI, it's doing very well. It's bounced off that key level support, and it's really looking good here. So all in all, pretty awesome stuff in that sense. That's mostly positive. We also want to take a look at the moving averages as well, and just note that they're both, all three of them are down below. This is positive. We like to see this as well. So essentially, the price action got rejected by the 200-day simple moving average for some time, and it broke free and clear, and now it's just going on a tear. So there's really nothing holding the price action down at this point on the daily. And that's a very positive thing. So big picture macro looks pretty decent. Even though you could argue it's overextended, it's a healthy continuation. Again, let's address that too. And when I say healthy continuation, there's a lot of different things you can kind of think about here. First of all, we need to look at smaller time frames to identify that. But for the moment here, what we can see on TD sequential is that we're only about 6 4-hour candlesticks into this full-on progression. So hypothetically, we're going to hit a 9 and turn around. You can see this happen previously. We came up to a 9 and got rejected, or pretty much rejected at a 7, but came down to a 9 to fulfill that whole sequence. Because what TD sequential is doing is it's taking the 4th previous candlestick and counting up to 9 from there. So if we're at a 6 right now, hypothetically, if the price goes sideways, we'll still hit a 9, and that would be just fine. So what we want to see is the price action go sideways at some of these key level supports to effectively help us understand some things. To touch on support, let's go ahead and address that as well, because that's important. We can see a support level is here, right where the previous resistance level was, and that's an important factor. Why don't we go ahead and change the color of this guy here, put that back in blue, and just kind of help us understand that, hey, this is looking pretty positive. The price does retrace. I would say 62.5 cents would be more likely than not the lowest point in which the price will go. All right, again, we'll know when we get there, but between now and then, we want to look at smaller time frames to kind of identify a few other things. Before we get there, though, RSI is overextended on the 4-hour. And to me personally, when I see that happen, I don't love it. I think that it's, I wouldn't say disadvantageous, but it's a cause for correction, or at the very least, consolidation. So take a look here. Previously, we hit over 70 on the RSI on the 4-hour, and you can see what happened with the price action. It got rejected off of that key level resistance and continued sideways. We likely topped out here so far at 74 cents. I think 74 cents should be the immediate top. Once again, based on the fact that we're halfway through our extension, if you will, and we have that rejection off of 70 on the RSI, there's a lot of reasons why the price action shouldn't continue much higher from here. Again, these are just the standard things that you want to try to look at. Does it mean it's going to fall and drop like a rock? No, not necessarily. It just implies that we're a bit on the overextended side to the upside. But what we want to take a look at would be the volume weighted average price and a handful of other small little indicators on the lower time frames to help us understand what that looks like. All right, so touching on the 1 hour, let's go ahead and do this here first. First of all, T-day sequential telling us we're at a 9 plus 2 hours overtime. So this push right here that we saw at a 6 on the 4 hour is actually at a 9 on the 1 hour. Commonly, when you see a 9 on the 1 hour, you'll see it either go sideways or it'll increase or decrease. In other words, we saw a 9 here previously, price came down. Hit a 9 here, went sideways and up, came down to a 9 and over. So it's hitting a lot of 9s pretty consistently, basically just implying that when it goes on a run, it'll continue until it hits its overextension. All right, that's positive in that sense, but what's disadvantageous for the moment is that we've kind of, we've flown too close to the sun, the wings have burned, and the likelihood of the price action pulling back from here is greater. Is it going to happen? Hard to say specifically. This is actually a very healthy continuation. We got some sideways action here and then the leg up again. So in truth, there was almost about 4 hours of consolidation, which is extremely positive here in that sense. Even though we didn't get a full-on reset, we could hypothetically say we're only about 5 or 6 hours into this push, right? Again, because we had this kind of ascending type of pattern, this pennant pattern, breakout to the upside. That's a very common thing that we see in trading, more so specifically cryptocurrency coins that are moving in a very strong ascending type of pattern like Ravencoin. So that being said, we're looking pretty good here in that regard. But of course, again, overextended, right? That's kind of the common theme here. Let's take a quick look at the Ichimoku cloud and see if we have anything that's telling us here. Not much really note here, except for the fact that we can see the cloud kind of consolidating closer to where the current support level is. So the price does pull back. Once again, 62.5 cents should be the bouncing point if it were to. Again, we have a decent amount of volume up here at this level, so that's going to work as a nice support level. Okay, so again, just some things to kind of think about. But right now, the actual, the Ichimoku cloud is telling us that we do not want to short. You want to leave your long position open. I would say in the next 12 to 24 hours, if the price action goes sideways, we may want to consider potentially a short position if, of course, lag and span intersects with the price action and a handful of other factors occur. But for right now, the short-term time frame is telling us that even though this is overextended, continuation of the upside, there's no reason to close your position. Right now, again, I always recommend taking some profits if possible. Why leave meat on the bone, right, or food on your plate? You want to try to clean your plate, of course, but you also want to let some things ride. So don't close your entire position if you were to, just a little position, little profits here and there. Very last, what we want to take a look at here is a 15-minute, and I like to look at the 15-minute volume weighted average price and kind of see here if there's any indication here. So first of all, if we take a look back here, we can see, of course, that we've been overextended above 70 on the RSI for some time here, corrected itself, and then the same thing occurred here as well, right? So again, when the RSI comes up over 70, it's one of those things where you kind of want to pay attention in the sense that it's overextending itself. And the trick there is to sell on the way back down, not necessarily on the way up. Okay, so when the RSI comes back down, that's when you want to consider selling versus an RSI that is on its way up. You don't sell right here as soon as it's overextended, you sell when it comes back down, right? Again, easier said than done, I know that. It's totally easy to identify now, but generally speaking, those are things I look for when I day trade. The last thing also to note too as well, minus the the VWAP notification, is furthermore, we're staying above the 15-day exponential moving average on the 15. That's very, very positive. Okay, so until we break below that, I would say no reason to short. Very last thing to recognize too is the fact that the volume weighted average price, the price action, is pulling itself outside the standard deviation lines. So it makes sense as to the price action being likely to come back down. So I know everything I've said here so far kind of contradicts each other, because that's kind of how trading is sometimes. You've got a lot of positive, a lot of negatives, but I would say there's more positive here than negative to maybe consider holding or just selling a small position. And the likelihood of the price pulling back is lower just based on its momentous trend. But the bottom line is we're overextended and a pullback would make sense right now. Okay. Now the thing to maybe try to identify is a lot of times when the price action pulls back, it'll come back down to the most recent high. So oftentimes if the price were to come down that low, we could very well see a bounce around 64 or possibly again down at 62.5. So those would be the bouncing points. If you're going to put some limit orders in, 62.5, 64, possibly even 66 as well. But at this point, it doesn't look like it's showing any signs of wanting to slow down. but we should experience a natural correction similar to what we saw here, perhaps right here. All right, again, big perhaps. So I hope that this was descriptive and helpful in helping you make an informed decision, because honestly, it could really go either way. It is definitely overextended, and a lot of folks will take that overextension and go against it. But if you had done that previously, you would have gotten burned. So you got to recognize Raven has a lot of momentum, and sometimes you want to just allow that momentum to continue until it discontinues, right? All right, so hopefully that helped you. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you learned something here today. If you want to become a better trader, again, CryptoCache.tech is the website, link in the description below. Feel free to check that out, and I look forward to working with you, and I appreciate your time. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.